Welcome to your English news edition here on Canal Algérie. Let's start off with the headlines for today. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, congratulates the Sahrawi President Brahim Ghali for his reconduction in his functions as the Secretary General of the Polisario Front for a 3-year term. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni starts a friendship and working visit to Algeria at the head of an important ministerial delegation. In Dakhla, the elections to choose members of the National Secretariat goes on amid high expectations among the Sahrawi people. And we wrap up our news edition with beautiful footage of a white blanket covering several provinces of our country. Good evening. Those were the headlines. First up in our news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, addressed on Sunday a message to Brahim Ghali in which he congratulated him following his reconduction in his functions as the Secretary General of the Polisario Front and President of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. Mr. President and dear brother, following your reconduction in your functions as Secretary General of the Polisario Front and President of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, I would like to present to you my warmest congratulations and wishes for success in fulfilling your noble missions for the service of the fair Sahrawi cause and its valiant people, wrote the President of the Republic. On this occasion, I would like also to congratulate you for the success of the 16th Congress of the Polisario Front and hail the struggle of the brotherly Sahrawi people, which reiterates once again its attachment to its legitimate right for self-determination according to the resolutions of the United Nations and the African Union, and that while reaffirming Algeria's unwavering support for the fair Sahrawi cause, Mr. President and dear brother, accept my expression of my highest consideration and friendship, concluded President Abdelmajid Tebboune. Ibrahim Ghali, the man of the just cause and the symbol of the Sahrawi struggle, has a long career in which he occupied many leadership positions, whether in politics or the military sector, all with the sole objective of snatching the Sahrawi freedom. Report by Najah Tayar.
Ibrahim Ghali, Secretary General of the Liberation Popular Front of the Saqia al-Hamra and Wadi al-Dahab. With a glorious history, he became one of the prominent figures of the Sahrawi cause. This man is considered as one of the founders of the Western Sahara Liberation Front. He was born on August 19, 1949, in Smara city. He commanded the first military operation against the Spanish colonialism, which was behind the outbreak of the armed struggle on May 20, 1973. He was appointed defense minister in the first government of the Sahrawi Republic in 1976, after which he was named as a member of the National Secretariat of the Polisario Front from the 9th Congress until the 14th Congress. He was also appointed to several military positions before coming back again as the defense minister for 5 years. Later on, he was appointed ambassador of the Sahrawi Republic to Algeria in 2008 and then to be elected the Polisario Front Secretary General on June 9, 2016. After that, the Sahrawi people renewed confidence in him within the course of the last 2 conferences. Ibrahim Ghali is considered the 3rd Secretary General of the Polisario Front after both the martyr Mustafa al-Sayyid and the late President Mohammed Abdelaziz. An honorable historical career that explained the great rally of the Sahrawi people around the Secretary General Ibrahim Ghali to continue the fight in line with their aspirations for freedom and independence.
In another context, and ahead of the holding of the 17th session of the Parliamentary Union's Conference for the Member States of the Islamic Cooperation Organization due to be held in Algeria, the President of the National People's Assembly, Brahim Ghali, received the Secretary General of the Parliamentary Union of the Member States of the Islamic Cooperation Organization, Mohammed Khoreish Nayas. The meeting was an opportunity to review the ongoing preparations of the 17th Congress, and during which Brahim Ghali reaffirmed the Algerian Parliament's availability to host this session in good conditions. In a different activity, the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni started on Sunday her friendship and working visit to Algeria at the head of an important ministerial delegation. Meloni was welcomed upon her arrival at the international airport of Houari Boumediene by Algeria's Premier Ayman Ben Abdelrahman and other government members. In a related activity, Premier Giorgia Meloni went to the Martyrs Sanctuary here in Algiers in the company of the Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Arqab, where she observed a minute of silence and laid a wreath of flowers in the memory of our valiant martyrs of the glorious National Liberation War. Algeria's guests admired the beautiful view of Algiers Bay. The last visit of the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni to Algeria was a telling evidence of the historic relations, reflecting the common will to further strengthen and develop bilateral
between the two countries at both political and economic levels following the orientations of the two presidents.
أكد على الصداقة القوية المتينة بين إيطاليا والجزائر، وعلاقات الإيطالية الجزائرية ليست وليدة اليوم، هي قديمة في زمان وتقوت أكثر أثناء ثورة التحرير، ثم المساعدات اللي تلقيناها من عند أصدقاء الإيطاليين في العشرية السوداء. بالتقريب كانوا هما البلد الوحيد اللي كان واقف معنا هي إيطاليا. إذن العلاقات بين إيطاليا والجزائر علاقات قوية وستتقوى أكثر إن شاء الله في المستقبل القريب جدا.
من Italy's partner to the intensification of bilateral cooperation. The geographic proximity was indeed a factor of this cooperation and meetings related to files of common interest.
We are convinced that Africa and Europe have a common future, and this through Algeria's central role.
Algeria and Italy, a historic relationship marked by friendship and brotherhood, promoted the Algerian revolution's brand, Komate, a model of a sound and promising relations linking two countries.
The volume of trade between the two countries has reached $8 billion and is expected to increase in light of the new agreements. Ines Kalou with the details.
Economically, the Algerian-Italian cooperation is in constant development. High-level trips, round with the signing of a large number of cooperation agreements in various fields, strategic partnership between the two countries. The guidelines of the two presidents, who stressed during their meeting on the necessity to strengthen the access of cooperation between Algiers and Rome.
أعتقد هذه العلاقة علاقة ممتازة جدا على غرار بعض العلاقات في أوروبا.
It is an exceptional relationship compared to relations that are sometimes unstable, political, and that have affected many decades. Italy is therefore an ideal and reliable partner for Algeria.
Strategic partners, Algeria with a dozen of cooperation agreements in various sectors, especially in the field of energy, as 14 billion cubic meters of gas are exported annually to this country, a quantity that is expected to double over the next 2 years to reach 100 billion cubic meters of gas annually. The Enrico Mattei gas pipeline, the result of a partnership concluded in 1977, built to supply Italy with the Algerian gas, makes possible to cover Italy's gas needs on an average by 40%. The Meloni government aims to relaunch the Galsi gas pipeline project with the aim of increasing gas export. For its part, Algeria aims to expand this cooperation to include other fields, namely renewable energies, mechanical industries, and the automotive industry. The agro-food industry, fisheries, and aquaculture also represent promising areas for investment. The signing of an agreement with the Italian Stellantis Group constitutes a major step in this field. It reflects the distinguished bilateral relations. The economic partnership relations are being strengthened more in the small and medium-sized enterprises sector, a sector in which Italy has great experience and Algeria among them. It aspires to benefit from it, especially since the number of active Italian companies in Algeria is more than 200. It is expected to increase thanks to a favorable business climate and the facilitations granted to foreign investors stemming from the new investment law.
And as part of the military cooperation program between Algeria and Italy, Major General Mahfoud Ben Meddah, commander of the naval forces, received on Sunday at the premises of the naval forces building bearing the name of the martyr Swidani Boujm'a, the chief of staff of the Italian naval forces, Admiral Enrico Credendino. The two parties tackled issues of common interest, notably regarding cooperation in the naval sector. In the same context, and as part of the consolidation of the military cooperation relations between the two countries' naval forces, the Italian ship Carabinieri F-593 docked on Saturday at the port of Algiers. On this occasion, the ship's commander carried out a courtesy visit at the level of the Nautical Base Center in the presence of the military attaché to the Embassy of Italy here in Algiers. For his part, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community abroad, Ramtal Amamara, now on a working visit in Tripoli, was received by the chairman of the Libyan Presidential Council, Mohammed Al-Manfi, to whom he conveyed the greetings of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune. The meeting also tackled the cooperation and coordination prospects between the two brotherly countries. Still with the head of the Algerian diplomacy, Ramtal Amamara, who took part in the consultative meeting of the Arab Foreign Affairs Ministers held in the Libyan capital, Tripoli. The meeting was an opportunity to discuss and exchange views regarding the follow-up and implementation of the decisions taken during the last Arab summit held in Algiers. In this context, and in the presence of the representatives of the United Nations and the African Union, a particular attention was given to the evolution of the political situation in Libya, as well as the means to unify efforts so as to achieve the Libyan national reconciliation and hold democratic elections, putting a permanent end to the crisis in the country. The meeting also allowed the examination of ways to consolidate the joint Arab action and modernize its methods according to the constructive proposals resulting from the Arab Summit of Algiers at the initiative of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune. In a new development, Algeria strongly condemned the acts of the Swedish extremists who burned copies of the Holy Quran under the eyes of the public authorities of the Swedish kingdom in the cities of Malmö and Linköping, stating that this abject act contradicts the fundamental principles of the human rights and undermines the efforts to spread the dialogue of tolerance, according to a statement released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This act is likely to provoke hatred and the religious sentiments of Muslims as it profoundly undermines the values of freedom on which societies rely. In a different context, the Algerian Qatari steel factory receives its first shipment of raw steel by train from the Jinjan port. The numbers of raw material is expected to increase so as to meet the factory's demands. Sorry, by Najah Diyar.
After several tests, the double-track railway linking the port of Jinjan to the Ballara steel factory is finally operational. Initially, it will allow nearly 3,000 tons of raw iron to be transported per day over a distance of 50 kilometers, with the possibility of increasing the load in a second phase. After that, we reached an agreement with the various parties concerned. We scheduled the departure of 2 trains from the Jinjan station to the Ballara factory over a distance of 50 kilometers with a total of 30 wagons of 1,500 tons each, enough to achieve the objectives of the established annual program and reach 2 million tons per year at first, and at the same time reduce the pressure on the road linking Jijel and Milia. A large-scale project that will breathe new life into the Ballara steel factory, thus facilitating the transport of goods. The entry into service of trains is a real achievement for us. There will be 6 departures per day, which is enough for the factory's program to be profitable. We received the raw material from the port and then transported everything to the production unit. Our processing capacity is 3,500 tons per hour. Since last November, a project to extend the Ballara steel factory has been under development, which will create more than 1,000 job opportunities, increase the production capacity of the factory and supply the market with a wide range of products.
In Western Sahara, the elections to choose members of the National Secretariat went on. The choice must include 27 members among the 181 candidates meant by this voting operation. Ines Kalutas has more.
The second round of the elections continued to elect the 17 members of the Polisario Front's National Secretariat. A large influx of voters was recorded at the polling stations in Dakhla and the Sahrawi refugee camps.
انطلقت المرحلة الثانية لانتخابات.
The second phase of the elections was launched within the framework of the 16th Conference of the Popular Front for the Liberation of the Saqiyat al-Hamra and Mad al-Dahab to elect the members of the Polisario Front's National Secretariat, which will be tasked with managing the affairs of the Sahrawi state.
بعد هذا المؤتمر السادس عشر للجبهة مؤتمر استثنائي بكل المقاييس.
The 16th Congress of the Polisario Front is exceptional at all levels, especially with regard to the Sahrawi people's aspirations.
التجربة الوطنية في الديمقراطية
يعكس كذلك وعي الشعب الصحراوي بخطورة الوضع.
The Sahrawi people understand the seriousness of the situation and the need to elect a leader.
اليوم كان عندنا الدور الثاني الحمد لله في الانتخابات.
The elections of the members of the National Secretariat are taking place in good conditions.
الحمد لله المؤتمر كامل ومشات بهم واللي ساروا الخطوات الثنتين للانتخابات.
يعكس الكثير من الديمقراطية لدى الشعب الصحراوي.
The Congress reflects the democratic spirit of the Sahrawi people and their awareness of electing representatives who defend their rights.
يعتبروا عنهم يرافعوا عنهم في أماكن صنع القرار.
The proceedings of the 60th Congress of the Polisario Front is being held under the motto intensifying the struggle to expel the occupier and achieve sovereignty, after extending it for 2 days within the framework of a statute law of the Popular Front for the Liberation of the Saqiyat al-Hamra and Wad al-Dahab.
Association of the Friends of the Arab Sahrawi Democratic Republic wishes to implement during the year 2023 of projects likely to develop in France the political weight of the Polisario Front and the Sahrawi people. It is worth recalling that the association is holding since Friday its General Assembly in Gonfreville-Lorcher in Normandy. And the Friends of the Sahrawi Democratic Republic Association is preparing a trip to the Sahrawi refugee camps on February the 20th so as to show their support for the Sahrawi cause and get closer to the Sahrawi people. Story by Melissa Kebash.
The activists are all gathered here in Ivry's town hall to prepare for their travel in February to the Sahrawi refugee camps as part of the initiative taken by the Rust Friends Association.
Ces voyages ont pour but de découvrir une population dont on parle jamais parce que
this trip is carried out with the objective of discovering a population that isn't talked about. Although we talk about the conflict, we will discover the institutions of the Sahrawi Democratic Republic that are under construction for the past 48 years. We will be staying with the Sahrawi citizens to get closer to the Sahrawi people.
These trips are organized in refugee camps as well as in occupied territories. Ever since the separation wall imposed by the colonial administration, this witness has vivid memories of colonial repression at that time.
For
example, at our arrival, we've already called a representative of the Human Rights League who was supposed to meet us. He was indeed waiting for us, therefore we were headed towards him. Before the Moroccan police literally carried him and took him away.
For some, this is their first trip to the occupied territories.
It is very important to stand against colonialism and see with our own eyes what is happening there, so that we can tell others and be a witness of the violations carried there.
I think that it's really important to show that people are fighting by themselves and that we are here and we worry about them.
The trips are fully financed by the activists taking part, except the 11 elected, among 51 registered for this travel, namely French, Japanese, Swiss and German.
For its part, the National Instance of Support to Iranian Prisoners in Morocco hailed the resolution of the European Parliament condemning the violations and repression carried out against journalists and opponents in Morocco. This non-governmental organization affirmed that it closely followed the vote of the text, considering that the resolution also condemns the instrumentalization of the social and legal fragility of women in the country. Let's move now to the Shan competition being held in Algeria. Senegal progressed to the knockout stage after beating Congo with 3-0 in Group B, while Côte d'Ivoire, which defeated Uganda with 3-1. And we wrap up our news edition with this beautiful white blanket after a heavy snowfall in several provinces of the country, announcing a good agricultural season and abundant water. Enjoy this bewitching scenery. See you next time.